The idea that human beings could fly is perhaps humanity's most ancient and enduring dream, one that continues to evolve long since it became a reality. Throughout history, many myths and countless works of art had nurtured this possibility and inspired innovators to work toward turning men and women from passive birdwatchers into active participants of the skies.
I think every kid grows up fantasizing about flying to some degree. I mean, you see Superman flying, you see birds flying in the sky. One of the games almost all little kids, no matter where you find them, they pretend they're flying.
One of the things I remember most vividly was when the door opened for the first time and that cold air came rushing in, and it hit you that this is for real. Almost lost my breath thinking, oh my gosh, here we go. And then a group went out in front of me, and the sound just...
Right on the edge of the plane, there was nothing to jump into. There was nothing there. There's nothing there to catch you. You're right on the edge, and you're falling into air. And suddenly you feel like you're flying. And it is so beautiful and it's so peaceful. I guess it's just the best feeling ever.
In skydiving, you really feel like you're flying. You don't think about falling. It's as close to human flight as anything else is.
It's one of the moments, really one of the only moments, where truly everything that was in my head, clogging up everything, is gone for that 60 seconds.
It's a time where you're not thinking about tomorrow, and you're not thinking about yesterday or the hour before, but you're just completely consumed in that time.
Skydiving and base jumping has put me into that frame of mind of understanding and respecting not just my life by year and not by month or by week, but by seconds and milliseconds.
And that's, an overall thing that is, maybe binds all of those sports on any level is, starting to see those seconds as, instead of a second, you see it as a second.
I have experienced some truly unbelievable things base jumping. And now, to get me upset or angry in a normal life situation is almost impossible. I mean, a person has to damn near kill my family to get me aggressive. I don't get angry. I'm like, everything is mellow now. I'm just like, whatever. Some of the situations I've had to face where literally you have 5 seconds to make the right decision or you are gonna die. Once you go through that scenario enough times, you realize that, okay, meeting a deadline or whatever else it is you need to do in life is not going to be anything you're not going to be able to handle. And that's one thing that I've noticed about our sports, base jumping, skydiving, all these things, is that these people have become very good at risk evaluation, finding out what's dangerous, what can be done, what's safe, what isn't. They become very good at tasking. Okay, this is high speed, horrible things are happening, how do we fix it? And they seem to be much more confident in just making these things happen.
This sport starts at 160, reaching up to like 300 miles per hour. Any kind of sport or thing that involves that kind of level of speed, the more relaxed and centered your focus is, the more detached but involved you are in that scenario, the more fluid you are, and the more sensitive you are, and the faster your reflexes are, and the better your reactions are in general.
We're not crazy. I personally love my life. I love what I do. And I would not do it had I not calculated the risk. We all take risks every single day. But as long as we calculate the risks that we're taking, then we can still do them in a good, healthy way.
The word skydiving doesn't really talk about human flight. That came from the 1950s, the barnstormers used that word. Relative work comes from the French vol relatif, and that doesn't really talk about human flight. What talks about human flight and the history of human flight is simply flying in relationship to the ground, to the clouds, to the sky, to the earth, in ways that only Icarus or Daedalus did before when men first flew. That is human flight. That is what we're talking about.
Flying an airplane, the airplane is actually doing the flying. If you're flying even under your parachute's doing the flying, and you're operating the flying machine. But in free fall, you are the flying machine. What you do with your body, how you think, how you move, is how you fly.
A woman named Tidey Broadwick, an American in 1923, who weighed only like 105 pounds, started jumping from biplanes with cotton parachutes and pulling her own static line because her body weight wasn't enough to break the cord. She was the first free faller. From then until the late 1950s in America, people jumped out of airplanes and fell free looking at a stopwatch. We didn't use altimeters to know how much time we had, but that we still weren't flying. In 1959, a group of 5 Americans came back from France and brought with them the positions of free fall that enable stable free fall. And now you could jump out of an airplane, get stability, and delay your fall, which is what it was called, until you open. Stability wasn't part of the skydiving.
Back in the 60s, they did stuff with hula hoops, and you'd kind of go through the hoop, and you would do it with the raft, and they do stuff like that. But in the 90s, it started progressing to where people started flying with all kinds of different objects. We had things come out, the space ball. Now Olaf Zipser, he brought out the space ball, and he created the space game. And this was a phenomenal idea for flying games.
Would it not be for the creativity that freestyle brought along, we would have never gotten to the next level and came up with free flying.
What we're doing up there is dances, is because they have a rhythm, and because the interplay of the humans is beautiful. It is art.
The more human beings were exposed to this privileged bird's-eye view, the more their creativity was stimulated. As a result, many disciplines began to develop.
But what's really special about four-way and special about formation skydiving is it's not how fast the individual can fly or how creative their moves are. It's how quickly you can coordinate the group to really work together, to have their timing and synchronicity just precise. This is quite a trick when you're in free fall, when you're moving through the air that fast, when it's that loud, when learning to communicate and stay together, move together, stop together, grip together, to coordinate everybody's movements is the big trick in four-way, and is part of what makes it so much fun.
One of the coolest feelings for me is like when I'm competing and I'm in the zone, is that I'm not thinking. I'm just moving and flowing, very fluid, and as I'm moving from formation to formation, trying to do it with the least amount of stop and go. Kind of like if you're driving in traffic, like driving a nice car, like the more that you have to stop and go and accelerate, it's not as smooth, but like if you can just drive through traffic, just keeping things going, fluid and smooth, like keeping momentum and just controlling momentum, it's a really similar kind of feeling for me.
Just like any other sport that you do, as you train your individual skills, a certain amount of it becomes muscle memory for you. A certain amount of it becomes instinctive, basically. Moves that you just have to think of what the move is, and you don't have to think about how to do it anymore. The more that you train, the more of the moves become automatic and become muscle memory for you.